Welcome to another episode of the One-on-One Farewell Fans. I'm your host, MNG, and we got Cassandra here, and she is from Just Winging It podcast. We want to thank her for coming on to the show. So we having a conversation about these millennials.
Absolutely.
We should talk about our generation. We are
Uh-huh.
talking about what is happening in our future and where we're going to go. And right now, I can tell you, I'm going to tell you, like I said on the job interview. Job interview asked me, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Now, some people will say, well, the correct answer, MNG, is that you're supposed to tell them that you looking to move forward in the company and you looking to do this and you looking to do that with the organization. And I told them, I was like, you know what? I don't know. Because the pandemic has already showed us that in a heartbeat, the whole society can stop. And there's nothing you can do about it.
Just like that.
You know, we were in our houses for about a year or so, year and a half. We were stuck in our houses, slowly creeping back out into the world. Yeah. So when a job asked me, where do you see yourself in 5 years? My guy, I don't know. Because 5 years ago, I was looking at doing a lot more than 5 years later. Now I'm worried about when the next biohazard is going to happen. When the next disease is going to take place and it's going to send us back into our homes.
Yeah, when's the next shutdown?
When's the next shutdown? What's going to happen in the next presidency? I think I became more political this time around. I wasn't always.
Same.
Now I'm so concerned about my future. I'm more political now. I'm looking at who's going to be in the Senate and who's going to be in the House. Looking at who's going to be the mayor, who's going to be the governor. I'm looking at who's going to be my district representative. I need to know these things because my house value is important to me. The rising cost of living is important to me. All that stuff is important. And I can understand why the younger millennials are taking the path that they're taking. So my first question, to you and to anybody that's just going to watch this is, why are millennials delaying marriage and having children? Now, the average age for marriage for men is 29. And for women, it's 27.
True.
Now, I ain't married, okay? I mean, there's a reason why we saying farewell to the nice guys. That's exactly why.
That's one of the reasons right there.
We no longer going to keep playing games here. So... But Cassandra, from your point of view, why do you think millennials are delaying, marriage and having children?
Finances. The main thing, finances.
So, and what finances is a huge issue right there because when it comes to finances, the jobs aren't paying like they were.
The jobs are not.
Now, if you remember during the pandemic, jobs, when all the baby boomers were starting to retire and leave and everything, they were throwing money at people to come in there. Throwing money. I was a prime benefit of the pandemic. I was like, oh, they throwing money? Oh, I'm leaving.
I'm going.
I'm going.
Yeah.
So finances was a big deal back then. People lost their jobs, small businesses closed. So
a lot of things were shifting. A lot of things were not the same as they were for all the years we had no shutdown.
True.
And just coming back to people looking at being married or having kids, the main thing is a lot of them are saying, I cannot afford a child. I can't afford to first, I got to feed myself. Then I have to feed my child. Then I have to, now, before I think of myself, I have to think about the next person that I'm with, that I'm a partner with. And a lot of people, they're going through a lot of mental issues from pandemic during this time now. So it's like, I have to think about the child and I have to think about my spouse. A lot of people are not wanting to do so because then you have to upgrade also where you live. They can't afford that. Finances are taking a big part of that right now.
You're absolutely right. Post-pandemic interest rates are are astronomical at this point in time. I thought about selling my house because it increased in value and go get another house. But you know what that means? That means not only am I going to pay more,
Yeah.
I'm going to pay at least 200% more than what I was paying before, during the pandemic. Okay.
Right.
And that's
You're
just
not gonna
way
want to lose that value that you have. Absolutely not.
exactly. So you might as well just stay where you at.
Stay
You
right
know,
there. Yeah, yeah,
and like, I was thinking about going to get like a new construction and everything. Like
yeah.
we about to get this brand new boy stainless steel
Uh-huh.
everything.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice neighborhood because you sell, you get that profit. So
Yeah,
now you
exactly.
get the down payment, for
Exactly.
a more expensive house.
Exactly.
So you go and get you a more expensive house, because that's how people upgrade. You sell what you
Hmm.
had, the value went up, and then you go and you upgrade. You know,
Exactly.
but now if you talking about upgrade, you looking at 6-7%.
Way much more that
Way
you're
more.
already doing.
I was looking at. I'll be real, Farewell fans. I was looking at a house that was like $320,000. Okay. Now, in some instance, you would depend on the area. It could be a little affordable because the taxes
Yeah.
are low. Mortgage is not the unaffordable part. It's the
Hmm.
taxes because you can afford a mortgage. So your mortgage won't be nothing. It's your
Yeah.
taxes. This is gonna run
Yeah.
you into the ground because
Yeah.
your taxes is gonna be more than how much you're paying a month, and then they're just gonna divide it up throughout the whole year. Yeah,
Yeah.
your mortgage should be 700, but then your taxes is gonna be 800.
And that's just they're gonna look at it like, what is going on? That's why, like I said, for the politics now, I'm listening. I'm listening to what both sides got to provide. I'm like, you know, what is it that you both or one of you guys can do for us millennials now? That's
Exactly.
what I'm looking for. I just turned 31 and I'm looking for a first time home buyer credit. If I could get my hands on one. So what can ease up this life that we are living at this moment? What can be a difference? What is a change for us?
You're absolutely, and it definitely starts with politics
Yeah.
because, and not to stray too far into politics, but it definitely starts with politics because they make the decision and they make the laws that
Yeah.
affect the cost of
Hmm.
living.
Right.
Whether it's inflation, whether it's the interest rate, there is some control over that and how they can just put their hand on the button and say, okay, well, we're gonna cap, we're gonna try to put a cap on inflation, or we're gonna try to put a cap on gas prices, we're gonna try to put a cap on
Hmm.
capitalism, and so they won't overcharge
Yeah.
the American people. Okay,
Yeah.
so
Hmm.
when we talk about, and let's talk about overcharging, because marriage, man, just to get married, even
Hmm.
if you try to stay within budget, costs a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah. Yeah. You always go above the budget.
You always go, somebody always wants
Yeah.
some flamingos or some white
Yeah.
doves
Yeah. Yeah.
around. We want to release the
Hmm.
doves when we coming down. What we want to release the doves? Like why? We don't
Yeah.
need doves. We don't need doves.
You don't.
So they try to release the doves during marriage. Then you want to talk about downsizing because once you get married, then y'all move into one location, or then now y'all looking for another place to move to, and then you talk about having children. The average child, from my research,
Okay.
told me that it costs about $18,000 a year
A
for
year.
for the average child.
What state is that?
It didn't give a state. It didn't give a state. It was just a real rounded number. It said that's the
Yeah.
average. And when
Yeah.
I think about it, I think at how much it costs. So if you talk about an infant, and you thinking like, oh well, $18,000 don't cost much, but it all depends on what you're spending your money on. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and it didn't say 18,000 like so far as gifts like bassinets and diapers
The
or anything like
necessities
that.
basically for
You
the
know,
child. The
right?
pampers, the infamil, the clothes, and the clothes alone. They
Oh,
they they run
so
up the clothes. And the shoe size, it changes,
yes,
and then God forbid your kid is sick.
but and you hit it right there. It doesn't mention the doctor visits.
Yeah.
Because infant, a kid gets so many doctor visits in the first 5 years of their life.
Mm-hmm.
The first
Yeah.
5 years is just doctor
Mm-hmm.
visits for the most part.
Yeah.
Hopefully, then hopefully they don't injure themselves. get banged up, bruised. All of that goes into the cost of it. Can you afford any of that? And I don't. And having children at a late age, maybe it's better to have children at a late age. You're a little bit more wiser, you're a little bit more, experience with life. So, you can provide some wisdom, some guidance. So far as getting married, I'm not going to talk about the dating world. I
I'm already 3 years in. So I'm already 3 years in. So
well, congratulations.
3 years this month.
Congratulations. And the funny part, everybody in my circle is pretty much married. I'm like, I'm the only single one. I'm the last of the Mohicans out here. Like, so they were like, yeah, we about to go do this little date or whatever. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'm not about to be the 21st wheel. Like, it's not about to
He said, no, I'm not doing it.
But finance is definitely one of the big issues. Politics is another thing that is driving our economy and trying to delay marriage. I think also with delaying marriage, I think it is what both sides are asking for, men and women. I think both sides are asking for too much of each other. And I say this in post-pandemic. Now, pre-pandemic, there were some wild requests out there, but it's nothing like the request now.
Yeah. The request now is just like I can only give you but so much, but you're asking for more. And it's like, then I try to give you more, but I can still find myself only giving but so much, and then overworking yourself, and your mind is overworking yourself just to please that person and please yourself. A lot of people just say, I'm good by myself. I don't know what slogan that's from, but a lot of people say, I'm good by my lonely. I'm good by myself. Or like, I don't need any extra thing I got to worry about. What's going on with you, or how you going to get there? And it's like, it really starts with, can I afford to be married, or can I afford to have kids? And then, do I want to be with someone? I'm okay alone,
That is true. Some people feel like because of what's happening in a dating pool. Some people say it's piss in a dating pool, but I mean, it's piss in all pools. I don't, be honest. But some people look at dating and they say, well, can I afford a date, or what is the expectation of me to date? When your job is not paying you enough money to go on dates. Some people saying you shouldn't go on a date. If you ain't got the money to go on a date, why are you dating?
It's annoying.
But then you look at all the other stressors in life when it comes to millennials. Not only the finances, but you just don't know when the next crisis is going to happen. And it comes down to defending you and your family. And, I'm not trying to paint that in a negative way whatsoever. But if it comes down to, can I survive by myself versus trying to survive and help 2-3 other people survive too?
Yeah, that's like, a lot.
Kids, I gotta make sure everybody's going to survive. Everybody is going to eat. And you just don't know what kind of world that you're going into, because remember, they was taking everything off the shelves at one point in time.
Yeah, toilet paper gone, everything.
Everything was going. So then when you got kids, how do you explain to them that, hey, you can't wipe your tush because we ain't got no toilet paper, and they just can't mentally comprehend it at that point in time. Because everything is going. So looking at whether another crisis is going to come, can I fend for myself personally?
Yeah.
Just trying to fend for myself and fend for my family as well.
Yeah. That's why it's just a lot on the plate, because you have to think of everybody in your circle. You got to think of who's in your home that needs this, who's in your home that needs that. And once the pandemic came, it was a big shock to people my age, younger, older, everyone. And then now they're coming here like, okay, there's no pandemic. Everything is slowly getting back to where it is, or everything is where it's supposed to be for who it's there for. And then like, well, just like you just said, it's a valid point that I've heard. Why would I bring somebody else into this world if I don't know what is expected to come? I don't know what tomorrow brings. I'm still trying to figure out and fight for today. I don't know what I can't, some people are like, I can't even afford to go out to the restaurant next week. How can I bring a child in? They need the world. They should be given the world because they didn't ask to be here, So it's like, you have a choice. And then if you're protective about who you're with, you still have that choice. And people are now sitting down and making decisions. Well, can I afford, and where do I want to move? Where can I see myself? Or I want to be at a certain amount in figures before I bring a child in. And I don't think anyone honestly is at a satisfied amount yet,
Mm-hmm.
because they're like, I still want more, to the point where you're like, all right, I don't need the kids anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and coincidentally, I have a friend where him and his wife wanted to have kids, and then they decided, they didn't want to have kids.
Yeah.
And I understand. I understand. I have a 17-year-old.
Oh, 70.
Look, I understand. Had I known what I know now back then, I would have made different choices with my life. I wouldn't have had no kids. I mean, as precious and as lovely as they are,
it's a lot of work.
I just want to have. I want to have kids because kids are they need so much of your life. And if you don't have a great support system, you're going to have a very, very hard time raising a child.
Yeah.
When you have to do it by yourself and you have nobody to rely on, you're going to have a very hard time.
Yeah.
Trying to find somebody. Not trying to find somebody, but just trying to live, to be, and in one of my shows I talked about, a diverted path, because when my son was born, my whole lifestyle shifted and changed.
Right.
So I had to deviate from the path that I was on in order to make things for him happen. Right. Now, eventually I got back to that path, but it's kind of like going the long way around.
Yeah.
When you trip somewhere, like you can go to one state and be like, oh, I'm gonna go through all the tolls because it's the quickest route. But then something happened. You know what? I can't go through these tolls. I got to take the long way around.
Exactly. We always look for that shortcut, but we still need the long way. I just recently said this to someone. We're looking for that shortcut, but we still, in a way, find ourselves going that long way.
Exactly. Now, I don't know if you know this, but millennials are called the lost generation. Now, this is new to me.
This is, I heard it on TikTok.
Now, I don't feel lost, and I don't feel found. So if I ain't lost and I ain't found, I'm somewhere in the middle. Okay, we gonna just purgatory. Now, millennials are the lost generation due to debt, unaffordable assets, and low benefit jobs. How do you think we deal with some of these government issues going forward?
I think going forward, we need to continue to stay in tune when our runners are going live and talking, when they're having those, not debates, but they're having their own speeches. We need to listen and tune in and see, okay, well, what are they really saying? What are both parties really saying? Who do I need to go ahead and start from? I need to start with my councilman. I need to start with who is speaking for my neighborhood, who is speaking for my town, who's speaking for my state, and now who is going to be my president. Let's tune in. Like recently, I've never done this. I'm like, in the beginning, all right, always going for who I'm going for. I went for Obama, went for Obama. And then here now I'm like, well, I'm actually looking up their backstory. I'm looking up, well, who's their parent? Who's this person? Who's the runner up here? And I'm like, oh, okay, so this is their more. I'm starting now to look more at their TikTok pages because they're in the social media now. So I'm looking at that. Anytime one of them go live on Instagram, I'm there because I want to now listen, because I have to put someone in that space that's going to do right for the generation before me, the generation after me, and also my generation. So if we just participate more, actually go out there and vote and not say, oh, they both losers, I don't want to do it, then it's like we're failing if we can't get that. Let's participate more. Let's listen more. Ask questions more, speak on it more. So that's why I feel like we can move on for that.
I am on the exact opposite page.
Yeah. Let me know what yours is. I love it. What is it?
Well, we on the exact opposite. Listen, I feel like both parties aren't going to provide anything for the middle class, the lower middle class, and the low income families.
See, I didn't know we could talk about, I know we could go in that direction. Well, listen, when I spoke about the first time home buyer credit, I said, okay, Kamala's going to give me that. Kamala's going to give me that if I'm going for that. And if that's there, I said, okay, because a lot of people can't get homes because they're being judged by their credit score. They can't being judged by home, they have nothing there. If the family can't provide, then she's able to provide that. I'm going with it. I'm moving with it. The other party is saying some crazy stuff. We already know about eating the dogs, eating the cat. This is why I'm team blue for over here. It's just, I can't say I'm not gonna just not vote though. I don't know.
No, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying don't vote. That's not what I'm saying.
That's a lot of people say I'm not even gonna do it. I don't care. Whoever gets in, gets in. That's a lot of them saying.
I do believe you should go out there and exercise your right to vote because there has been a time where you didn't have the right to vote at all.
Yeah.
So, and then when it's gone, it's like one of those things where you have to cherish and value what you have. Because there's going to be a point in time where voting is definitely going to be challenged for minorities. And you should, and at the time that you want to exercise it, you're not going to be able to exercise it, and you're going to miss out on a lot. So I definitely say go ahead and exercise your right to vote. With saying that, I'm gonna say, and this is why I disagree with you. This is why I disagree with you. I don't feel like either party is qualified enough. And some people may come after me for this, and that's fine. I don't think either party is qualified enough for that position. I'm gonna tell you why. Trump already went in there and acted childish, started a riot, and just complete fool. Okay, he has now even split the Republican Party into two different type of Republican parties. There is the Republican Party that's for Trump, and then there is, I guess they call it the far right Republicans.
Yeah.
They're like, we're so far right, we don't even align with Trump. That's how far right they are.
Yeah, literally.
Then you got Kamala Harris. Now, I watched the last debate, and I listened to both parties, okay? And honestly, Kamala had some good streams down the road. In the beginning, literally made no sense whatsoever. I was kind of like, I just need you to answer the question, ma'am. Please. Neither one of them asked the question.
Yeah.
Ma'am, just please answer the question. I have watched presidential debates before and heard some great responses. This one, I haven't heard really great responses. I've heard misdirection. I've heard blame. I've heard finger pointing. I've heard who I'm not. I've heard a lot of things. What I didn't hear is answering the question.
Yeah.
Trump doesn't have a plan for policy. Kamala doesn't really have a plan.
Perception of a plan, but not a plan.
There's a concept.
Yeah.
But I don't think Kamala has a firm grasp on the plan. Now the $25,000 for first time home buyers, I think is great. The bigger picture here is where does that come from? Who's going to fund that? Now, Trump's idea is we should put tariffs on all imports. Now, that's a great idea. The problem is you put 3-4% on tariffs. Who pays for that tariff?
Yeah.
American people. Yeah. So talking about these funding programs and giving money away, where does that money come from? Is it that they're going to take more money from the federal bank to pay for this, or they're going to tax the American people over the next 4 to 8 years, maybe 12, just to get that money back and hopefully attempt to try to pay down the national debt. I don't see either one happen. I don't see that happening in Kamala Harris. I don't see it happening in her first term. I don't see that $1,000 because think about it. If anybody understands government, even if she presents the idea, it still has to go through the House and it still has to go through the Senate. And even if she try to do it by executive order, that still only has so much power.
Yeah, and it still has to go through to be.
It still has
Yeah.
only power. So what I want the audience to understand is that when we're looking at government, a president just can't just sign things. They can, but understand the limited ability that power has. It's
Mm-hmm.
not. It doesn't have a lot of ability, especially when you have Congress in play, especially when you have, the Supreme Court in play, because the Supreme Court can strike it down as well.
Yeah,
So, and
that's the
and this
thing. Yeah,
and this
because
is why you have three branches, so you can have that.
yeah,
So one
yeah,
doesn't have more power than the other. So when people say, "Well, the president could just sign," yeah, they could just sign. But if
but
the Supreme Court sees it as unconstitutional, and if Congress seems it as unconstitutional, and they feel like it's not going to go, then they can find ways to strike it down. You can't throw things out there and think that, hey, that's going to stick. Yep, that's a great idea. We're going to sign it in a law. It's going to stick. It's not going to stick.
yeah,
Let's look at the SAVE program that's supposed to help, thousands and thousands of students, come out of, get forgiven for their student loans.
yeah.
They have postponed that a number of times.
Way too many.
It has been postponed a number of times. Supreme Court came after it, because of a case. They said it was unconstitutional and everything. So when you really look at, the politics of it, what Trump says, even when he says, "Oh, we're not going to tax overtime anymore. We're not going to have a federal tax anymore." Okay, so if we don't, it sounds good. It sounds great. More money in your pocket, right?
Right.
But once society knows, once these companies, capitalism, understand that there's more money in your pocket, what do? Then we have a crazy amount of inflation. It goes up. Because now that because you got to think about it. When they start printing more money, what happens?
Yeah.
Prices start to go up because people have more money in their pocket, so price start to go up. So then you start this what they call ultra inflation. Okay, the more money you print, you get the hyperinflation, and then prices start to take off. So then you try to print more.
Start complaining again. Yeah.
I had recently seen a video of a I forgot what country it was, but they had like a $5 million bill because of hyperinflation. The inflation was just so rapid, like they had to keep money to try to curb the inflation, but the inflation just kept going.
Oh wow! Okay.
So
you gotta share that video.
So I had to find it again. But when we're dealing with these finances, and we're dealing with this government, we deal with politics, and we're looking at low benefit jobs, and we're looking at unaffordable assets, houses, cars.
Yes.
Interest rates are too high. People haven't got really increases, or if they have got increases, they keep hitting you with the same 2 or 3% increase every year. And it's really just you pennies on a dollar.
Yeah.
In order to try to sustain and survive.
Exactly. And one of those big points that you said too, because I was watching when she was on Oprah, and you said answering the question, we just can't get her to answer the question. I'm like, I was watching, I said, oh yeah, she asked this question. I said, but where's the answer? I love a straightforward answer. And I'm like, and I seen it, and we're in the comments like, oh, she can't answer the question. I'm like, you're right. Where's the, where is just give me? Can you do this? Absolutely. We're going to do this. Boom, boom, boom. Instead of giving us the ring around. Now I have nothing where I'm like, oh no, she's not going to get my vote, or she's not going to do it. But I wish, instead of what we do and hear somebody's plan and we're like, you know what, I like that plan, let's go vote. I just wish there was a way to see things in action more, that doesn't have to go through so much, and then just go ahead and, you know what, I've seen you do this before you even got in. Let me go ahead and cast my vote. Even, all the people that were locked up, they're like, oh, she got a lot of us in jail, and Trump gave us the stimulus, but he put his name on that. It was passed already way before that, but we still had to pay for these stimulus. Like I've worked for the government. I know you guys had to pay. So it's like, all of that, it's like I wish we can have things in motion before they get in the chair, so that we know who is actually standing on business. You know what I'm saying? Like, who's actually gonna get this going? You know?
And you're absolutely right, because I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. I've always felt that in this day and time, right, just right now, I've always had to vote for the lesser evil. You know, when it came to Obama, I'm like, okay, that's a good president. You know, he speaks well. You know, he's standing on business. You know, he got my vote twice. But then when it came to Trump, it's like, okay, well, we lost that one. Trump got it. And then when it came to the second time, it's like, oh no, we can't do this. Like,
Yeah.
they're voting for Biden, the lesser evil, because at the time I'm like, well, I don't really want Trump in there, but I mean, Biden ain't no better either. But I'm gonna just vote for Biden. You know, and I found myself in that same situation. Like,
again, yeah.
You know, Kamala ain't that, and I don't want Trump in there, but Kamala ain't that better. But I guess I'm gonna just go with the lesser evil. And it's not, for me, it's not so much as Republican and Democrat, but from what I heard from Republicans, it doesn't fit into what my ideal society is, and what I want to get out of working and going down a future. But some things the Democrats say I don't agree with either. You know, but at least 25 or 50% of their plan I can get with, versus 10, 20, 30% of the Republican plan that I'm like, you know what, that sounds good, but everything else sounds worse.
Yeah.
And then you play that balance, and I think that's kind of where millennials are right now. Older millennials and younger millennials are kind of looking at, okay, we're not really, I don't think we're really Republican or Democrat. I think we're really just trying to weigh the balance between which one is going to provide us the best benefit going forward. And I think that is the correct way to go. But I also think we should also get away from a two-party system.
Yeah, I would like her to have a better runner, because I feel like many of us are honestly just tired of hearing what Trump has to say. Because anytime the debate is there and debate is on, to me, I feel like it's a Netflix comedy show. You're gonna get. I'm like, all right, I know that's gonna be a meme. I know that's gonna be replayed. I know I'm already here for it, because I know where the vote is gonna go. But like, even when McCain was running with Obama, he didn't play that let's talk trash about Obama, let's do that. Like, what would the difference be if we had her running against someone that wasn't Trump? Because a lot of like, all right, let's get him out of here. He said if he doesn't win, that's it. He's not gonna come back. Who knows? But it's just like it's a comedy show each time, because
it definitely is a comedy show.
It's a lot of back, and she doesn't want or he doesn't want, and it's like, where's the Obama came? It was elegant. He had his, just answered with a lot of poise, and it's just different this year. It's different.
So now, according to Federal Reserve data, millennials collectively control 6.6% of the total household wealth in the United States in 2022. Now, baby boomers control 50.4%. Now, how can we gain more control over wealth?
I feel like we can gain more control if we get our finances in order. Maybe get some type of financial gain for whatever we do put out for. I think even with when we received the stimulus, I think it was the 2,400. Instead of going to video games and stuff, I bet I could have put that into some type of franchise or some type of stock or something that would have flipped so much, instead of just relying on just the 401k, or looking at things of what can benefit us in the long run, or what can I do to help something in my community that will bring more into the community so we have better things. Like, there's some parks that are still possibly not done yet, and if maybe we put more time and attention there, you know, we can rebuild our community instead of waiting for others. If we all put our money together and put it into better things instead of let me get the latest game, the latest Jordans, you know, if our jobs also pay, if the salary needs to salary, you know, we'll just get what we need. It'll
Right.
be more for us to actually put something to a better future, to a better savings account, to actually have a percentage that we can say, okay, this can go here, that can go here. But when we don't have enough, and baby boomers or millennials, Gen Zs, we don't have enough, it's like, okay, we're looking to see where the wealth can grow, but how can, if the jobs don't start off with something higher, you know? I was
I
doing
agree.
everything in the book for collections, working for the government, starting at
So,
22. That don't make no sense.
so,
The type of work I was doing. That don't make no sense. You
so
know?
let's look. So here's my take on that. How can we gain more control over wealth? I feel like millennials have a grasp on retail investing,
Mm-hmm.
but I think since the GameStop type of thing that happened, they put a little bit more regulations on how influencing the market works. So it kind of like can put a stagnant on our wealth generating. And then I think that we should definitely become a little bit more financially literate. And I'm not
Yeah.
saying we're not financially literate, because I believe
We
that
can learn more.
we can definitely learn more,
Yeah.
and build um build a better financial structure for us.
Right.
And if we're talking about it from a cultural standpoint, and I want to address it as a cultural standpoint, I think we need to
Mm-hmm.
be a little bit more financially literate, and we need to become more. Um,
You need
we,
to
we
teach it
need,
in schools.
well, the schools aren't going to really teach it. I mean, they should teach it. It's
They
like
should.
the schools should teach,
Yeah.
but they're not going to teach it. So when I'm thinking about financial literacy, I'm definitely looking at um us passing that knowledge along, taking that knowledge, using it, and passing it along. I now have told a lot of my friends, because what I did back in 2013, 2014 was,
Mm-hmm.
I built a trust for my son. So
Right.
now he has a trust. A
Right.
lot of people don't have trust. And then, I want to also get get whole life insurance. But
Mm-hmm.
whole life insurance, as you get older, becomes a lot more expensive. That's just how insurance is. When
Yeah.
you're younger and more vibrant, it's less. But as you get older, they charge you
Mm-hmm.
more, because you start to have, more element, more stuff to
Yeah.
suck
Yeah.
with you and everything. But when you get that whole life insurance, and anybody can probably any financial advisor can tell you this, you
Mm-hmm.
get that whole life insurance, you attach it to the trust fund. Now you start putting that whole life insurance in there.
Yeah.
And what that whole life insurance does is, once it builds up and it matures, then you can go ahead and you can borrow against it while you're still living.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
it's more of a benefit, and then you tie all your assets to your trust fund. So nothing is in your name; everything is tied to the trust fund.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a greater benefit, and it protects you from all liabilities.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that's a thing that is escaping people. I think that's escaping people when they're looking at financially looking at, oh, well, I need to boost my income. I
Right.
need to do all these things. Like, I got to start my own business, then I got to make money, and I got to do this, and I got to do that. And it's like, okay, well, you could do all of that, but if you look at other cultures, they use debt to their greater benefit.
Mm-hmm.
So I heard this one story where this guy wanted to walk to the store, seeing they didn't have an ATM, decided to put an ATM machine in there. He had $10,000 in the bank. And it
Okay.
was like, oh, you got $10,000 in the bank. That's cool. He was like, yeah. But I went ahead, I bought the ATM machine, but then I bought it on the credit card. And then I did he took money off of the credit card. So he did a loan off of the credit card,
Mm-hmm.
used that to fill the ATM machine,
Uh-huh.
and then get all that money back. within like 2 months. then turn around and did it again.
Yeah.
So, you know, business minded people, entrepreneurs, they use debt to their greater benefit. So they'll use debt in order to help make money.
To progress. Yeah. Yeah.
Because one thing that we know is when we use our own money, then if we use our own money, we make our own money, then it becomes at that point in time taxable, right?
Exactly.
But if you take a loan out and you use that as, income or income driven money, and you use that to invest in everything, guess what? That loan money is not taxable.
Yeah.
So why use my taxable money to build and start something when I can use somebody else's money to build and start something, and then turn around and build a business off of it, and the business pays the loan back and helps my business create an avenue to get another loan out and then keep building from there.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like we need to have like maybe somebody like you and more motivational speakers to come around and let our people know, like, go ahead and look into what is your plan of starting your own business, or how do you see yourself if it was to fall, how would you pick yourself up? What is like you said, the trust. My mother had trust for me for years, and I think one of those bank checks that you gotta give it to the banker to give it to you as cash, or put it in your savings or savings bonds. Sorry,
Yeah.
And 401k being important, life insurance. Once I became of age, the lady came right to me. It was like, all right, I've been with your mom for years. You see how she's set up. Here's the plan. Let's get you set up with your own life insurance. Let's get you set up with your own 401k. I think, a lot don't want to take that or don't want to hear it. But if we continue to spread more of that type of message, maybe put it in a song, maybe put it before you talk to me, watch this little video or something like that, because we all should be educated. And it does, in a way, it would be great if the school could teach people how to fill out a W-4. I'm telling you, a lot of people don't know how to fill out a W-4. A lot of people don't know what to do when it's time for tax time or something outside of it. Maybe friends could get people together, say, let's have a finance conference or a session where we just get educated on what they're not going to educate us on. Something of that nature.
No, I agree. There's people that don't know how to fill out a check.
Yeah.
I still send checks out. Okay. Yeah. And look, medical bills.
Yeah.
Let y'all know now, y'all getting a check. You not getting my credit card number.
Yeah.
I'm coming up there and sliding my credit card. Mm-hmm. Don't call me with a phone asking for the money. Send me a bill in the mail. You're gonna get a check. We gonna slow roll this all the way out. You gonna just keep getting these checks. Because I feel like this. Once you get my credit card information, what's gonna stop you from running the whole charge?
Yeah.
What's gonna stop you from putting me on auto pay and I didn't ask you to? Like, what's gonna stop you from doing all that stuff? Like, oh, well, we got this card on file. I didn't ask you to keep it on file. I didn't ask you to keep that on file.
Oh, that's common. How did you get this?
Listen, you can take these checks and you can cash these checks as they come. I don't care how long it takes for you to get them. As long as that mail's still rolling, you gonna get this check. Look,
cashier's check for sure.
I had checks for like 5 years. They had like they had like 3 older. It had an address from like 3 locations ago. It had that address on there. I was still sending them boys out. Sign, send. I go to the store. Let me go ahead and get some stamps. Give me a book of stamps. Hey, I'm sending these.
Wow, it's an old school.
On them boys. Look, medical bills.
You're right though.
Medical bills ain't getting a credit card from me. Okay, it's only
do you do direct deposit at least?
I do direct deposit. Yeah.
Okay.
When it comes to getting my money, I do direct deposit. I don't want no checks for the rest. If you paying me, yes, send that ACH. I don't need, I don't need no delays in my money.
Yeah.
Now, if I gotta pay somebody, oh yeah, but it's only medical bills and stuff like that. Like, hey, go you can go,
because they will put it on auto pay. Yeah. Or they will say, "Oh, I got this card on file." Absolutely, that's not even a joke. I've seen it.
Because once they get their card, then once they get your card, then they really gonna call you like, "Okay, well, can we get authorization?" to put this. We already got your card on file. Can we get authorization to push this amount through? And you're gonna be like, yeah, go ahead, just so they can stop bothering. Like, nah, man, nah, we ain't doing that.
And I don't know if you have Apple, but that's one thing I can't stand, the $9.99. Where is this coming from?
Nah, I'm an Android person.
Okay. All right. So, all right. Can't hate on them. You guys do have the stylish phones. I can't lie.
Look, I ain't got nothing to say.
Okay. Like, I don't know.
All the Apple people out there, you know, I ain't got nothing to say.
Yeah.
Don't come after me in the comments. Okay, don't come after me in the comments. When we talk about millennials, now they say millennials are experiencing more mental health than previous generations. Some say that we have witnessed more tragedy than other generations, including the Challenger disaster, the Twin Tower attacks, 2 major economic collapses. We talking about 2008, the housing bubble, and we talk about the bank collapse. What can we do to reduce or take a handle on these mental issues?
I feel like, for at work wise, I think they need to have a mental health check week. I just feel like it's highly needed, because a lot of people, when they know their 2 other friends are attending the mental health session, they'll attend. I'm like, oh my God, we're going through the same thing. We can all talk about it. We can all, get together and have a discussion to see what's going on. A lot of people love when their job cares, because that's the main thing. You get up, you go to work, or you get up and you do whatever it is that you do. But when your job cares and they show you and they're more in tune and they understand what's going on, and you see others that are coming to speak up, you're like, I'm not the only one going through this. This is why a lot of people really like TikTok, because a lot of people like, I'm going through the same thing. You're going through the same thing. I'm not crazy. A lot of us like to know that we are not crazy. So even though, anxiety has become very, very huge, it used to be a lot of depression. It is anxiety and depression, but then a lot has been with anxiety. That's why Inside Out 2 movie went skyrocket, because the adults are now understanding that their kids that are going through anxiety, they're also going through anxiety. What is this? How can I help? How can I get my mental health together? And being more vocal, maybe doing something different, facing that fear, a little more exercise, or staying in tune with what makes you happy. Social media can take a big part of that as well. So take a step back and put the phone down. Maybe go out, read a book, go outside, or, do something different. But once somebody else understands that they're not the ones also going through it, I really think jobs should do that, and then, the community as well.
I think that let's just think about it. I remember the Twin Towers happening. I was at school when it happened. Like,
I was in 3rd grade.
I was not to trump your age, but I was in high school.
I was in 3rd grade.
I was in 9th grade when it happened, and it was the craziest thing. I was in 10th grade, because I entered in 2000. I was in 10th grade when it happened, and it was bothersome, because you didn't know what was going to happen. Everybody was coming to pick their kids up. You didn't know if another plane was going to hit. Everybody.
Were you living out here too?
Yep.
Yeah.
And everybody, nobody knew what was gonna happen. And everybody kind of just everybody left work, grabbed their kids, and they went home, and they waited to see what was gonna happen. They waited for the news, and then they found out that we're going to war, and then boom, then we get past that, and then we get to 2008, and we have an economic collapse.
Yeah.
And we wow, government got to come. When the housing bubble happened, people lost their homes. I witnessed that, people losing their homes, going into apartments, forced to go onto the streets. They had nowhere to live. Just losing everything, because the rates that they had were they wasn't fixed. They were very variable, or they were balloon rates. And what it is when you expect to make more money in the future, your rates go up and you believe or assume that you can go ahead and make this money. And, they was giving loans to just anybody.
Right.
Then we go into the financial crisis, the banking institutions,
Mm-hmm.
they collapse, and the government, bailed them out. They bailed the big three out.
Mm-hmm.
And, they had to go and plead to Congress, for why they need this money. And during all those times that happened, the American people were struggling. The American people had confidence in these structures that they were going to, it wasn't even pandemic time. It was, it was during the recession and everything. And we as a people, as a culture, I feel like the government should not have gave them that bailout because, they wasn't doing the right practice.
That's true.
They just wasn't. So
while we're suffering. Mm-hmm.
While we're suffering. So going through all of that and then walking into COVID, the pandemic, and going through that isolation, whether you was isolated with somebody or you was isolated by yourself, as if you were in prison 24/7, 7 days a week. You probably went outside for a little bit, but then
came right back in.
You went right back in. There really wasn't too much in any places that you can go. So knowing that young millennials and the older millennials went through that, and I would definitely say that we had two different perspectives on when it happened, depending on the age that we were.
Right.
Okay. Like you said, you was in third grade.
Mm-hmm.
I was in high school. I was competent enough to know what was going on and to remember, it happening in real time. So it affected me way more differently than it affected you. Okay. So so for me, yes, I am definitely more fearful of a repeat of the same thing.
Yeah.
Definitely fearful of a repeat of the same thing. Definitely fearful of another housing collapse, another financial collapse.
Right.
It's just fearful of all that stuff. And they don't make it easier to actually deal with any of it. They don't make it easier. So when it comes to trust in politics, when it comes to trust in the banking system, when it comes to trust in any of the systems that they have in place, I am. It's almost like that. It's almost in the mindset that I need to be more financially fit to survive anything that comes my way. That means if I lose my job because of the pandemic, if my investments tend to tank, what other investment vehicles do I have that I'm making money from? The pandemic was such an awakening to the financial instability and unfitness that I was in. I was like, you know what, I can't do this. I got to be in an industry where I could continue to keep doing what I'm doing, even if everybody else's money has halted. My finances can't halt. So millennial out there,
those essentials.
You have to be in an industry where the money is going to keep rolling, regardless if you're able to go into the office or not. Or you need to be an entrepreneur and you need to be in an industry where you can move regardless of whether you leave your home or not. Because if you have a store, but your store has to close because you can no longer be in 6 feet of one person or another,
you're hurting.
What's your online look like? Do you get curbside pickup? Like you have to either pivot.
What's the different outlets?
There you go. You're going to have to do something different. You're going to have to do something different. So far as the mental health aspect of it, I think that everybody just needs to go to therapy.
Yeah.
However you want to go to therapy.
As you said it, absolutely.
Everybody needs to, whether you want to do text-based therapy, whether you want to do phone call therapy, whether you want to do in-person therapy, whether you want to do video chat therapy, whatever kind of therapy you need to do, you need to go and do therapy. And the reason why I say you need to go and do therapy is because nobody can do it on their own. Yeah. Even if you have a partner at home, I don't believe that it suffice to help you through whatever you're going through. Because either they're going to listen, they're going to listen for understanding, right. They're going to listen to dismiss it, they're going to listen to respond, or they just going to
listen out of respect.
Just, you know,
another voice is always valuable. Yes. Another voice is always valuable. That's why I said coming together with other people, a lot of people relating and like, oh my God, you are going through the same thing, or you do feel this way, but you know, maybe you could look at it that way. You know, you never know, the person that you're with could tiptoe around something because they don't want to trigger, but sometimes you need that little trigger to make sure like, okay, you know, I'm understanding. I you know, mental health is not just a moment. It's not a moment. Sometimes it's somebody's hourly thing going on. Sometimes it's a everyday thing going on in your head. And you know, when you're able to, you're suffering, you need more than one voice. So you need more than just that voice that you see all the time.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, Cassandra, thank you for coming on to the show, man. Hey, this has been
Thanks for having me.
Conversation. This was lit.
Yeah. Yes, it was. It was. I had a great time.
I think all the millennials they're gonna be like, either they gonna love us or they gonna hate us.
Let us know in the comments.
Let us know in the comments if you gonna love us or hate us. Hey man, make sure y'all go ahead and check out Just Winging It podcast, man. They doing their thing over there. Hey, I'm gonna catch y'all on the next podcast. Peace.